You are listening to a Clarkesworld Magazine podcast with your host and narrator, Kate Baker. Greetings, Clarkesworld citizens. I hope this podcast finds you well. I hope that whatever you're doing, you are relaxing or enjoying your time as you take in yet another story. Thank you for coming by and listening. Thank you for supporting the magazine with a subscription, or if you head over to patreon.com/Clarkesworld, you are helping us build back some of the income that we lost when Amazon made some huge changes without really considering what they would do. So thank you for all of that. So our seventh story for the month of November 2023, issue 206, is titled Thin Ice and is by Kemi Ashing-Giwa. Kemi enjoys both making up universes and learning about the real one. She studied integrative biology and astrophysics at Harvard and is now pursuing a PhD in Earth and Planetary Sciences department at Stanford. Her debut novel, The Splinter in the Sky, was an instant USA Today bestseller. Her debut novella, This World Is Not Yours, will be published in 2024. Her short fiction has appeared on Tor.com and Anathema, spec from the margins. So, my dear listener, I hope that you can sit back, relax, and let me tell you a story. You are no poet. The rest of your clan were. But that was before Half-Brilliant came and began eating them. Before Half-Brilliant began chewing up your people and their minds and spitting the bloody remains over snow-white canvases. Now it is the only dreamer left on your dying world. The only songs sung come from its silicon lips. The only tapestries woven here are woven with still fingers. Half-Brilliant's distant masters are ecstatic when they receive transmissions of its work here. They are so very proud of themselves. Their creature creates, praise be they are gods. They do not know the true price of their self-proclaimed divinity, and even if they did, you doubt they would lift a finger. Your people have always said the soul resides in the bones, the mind, and the flesh. Half-Brilliant keeps your clan in cryosleep, imprisoned in the stasis chamber on its ship. When it desires inspiration, it thaws one of your kin and takes a single piece of flesh. Something small, just enough for an idea. It is excellent at execution. You know why the construct did not freeze you with the others? You have no good ideas. There is nothing of worth in the whole of your body, nothing besides the cheap labor the construct demands of you. 100 years ago, your clan settled on the only world within their reach, Tam-19607E, once a tidally locked ocean world, now a rogue planet cruelly ejected from its orbit. Your home is doomed to a slow, frozen death, but for now, the side still facing the system's star remains a tepid liquid ocean. Half-Brilliant once told you that Tam-1607E resembled an eye. The glare of the sun on the sea made for a white pupil. The ring of blue water was an iris, and the ice beyond was a sclera. You know it ate that from your brother. You do not live by the ocean, not anymore, no. Half-Brilliant dragged you to the band of thickening ice along with the rest of your slumbering clan, and the cold is growing. As more and more of the world's heat leaks out, more water freezes onto the bottom of the floating ice sheets. The concentration of salt in the deep ocean rises, poisoning much of the life. Soon only the extremophiles will live, and soon after that, nothing. You are not going to wait for Half-Brilliant to tire of you. You won't be going into stasis. You'll just be dead. You have to run. Your boots crunch over the crust of old snow as you sprint through the front gate. Outside, the residuum of long-dead volcanism rears its back in pumice and obsidian, all black as night. The rock shoots up from the snow like thorns stuck in flesh. You keep going. You have to, but fate has other plans. You are perhaps 5 kicks away from the compound when something barrels past you. You leap to the side, barely missing glinting claws. You slam onto your back, staring into the face of your death. A pale, fur-smothered creature paces back and forth before you, 6 gray eyes glowing like dying embers. His tail curls behind him like a ribbon fluttering in the wind. Someone, no, not someone, half brilliant, shouts your name. Oh, oh no. The beast leaps, a blur of movement. Half Brilliant swings up a hand, and suddenly its hand is not a hand. A blade gleaming in the brilliant midday sun arcs through the chill air. The beast bellows, and then he splits, landing in two perfect halves on either side of your body. Blood splashes across your chest over your somehow still beating heart. Half Brilliant looks down, bare feet planted on either side of your knees. You saved me, you choke out. Of course, says Half Brilliant. You saved me. You repeat. Anger flares up in you like a flame doused with oil. Why? 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 You have served me well all these years. It crouches over you, cocking its head. But you remain in my debt. By the look in its eye, you know what it's going to say. Half Brilliant does this every morning. The face of your attempted escape changes nothing. Tell me a story, it says. It does not do this to learn from you, to assimilate your meager knowledge into its information base. No, it does this to prove to itself that your performance of your own culture is inferior to its own, to its bastardization of your clan's culture. When you hold your tongue, it demands, tell me of your stars. Half Brilliant only ever wants to hear of the stars, of other systems, of other worlds, or the skies and the gods within them. Normally, it summons you to its observatory for this, but the heavens above you will do for now. Binu. You clamber to your feet and jab a finger at a cluster of stars. The old tales say she was a spoiled little girl who tried to eat the food set aside for the elders at a festival. When her parents tried to stop her, Binu kicked the sacred fire into the sky. The red and white stars are little bits of flame, and the curve of the galaxy is formed, the ashes thrown up with the fire. Half Brilliant scrunches up its face as if it bit into a sour fruit, as if it eats, as if it tastes. She kicked the fire. Its voice drips with condescension. That's how the story goes. You trace a line between the cluster's constituent stars with your fingernail. A narrow, invisible face takes shape. As punishment, the elders set her ablaze and threw her into the void. And now she's a constellation. How severe, Half Brilliant gasps in mock outrage. She was just a little girl. So were my sisters when you came to our world. So were my nieces. You meet its two bright eyes. Half Brilliant sighs and rolls its shoulders. You must be freezing. I have to get you inside. You'll eat, and then you'll repair the superluminal transmitter, so I can share my work. Tell me a story, says Half Brilliant. The stars are the eyes of the dead. Your mother's story, its jagged fragments crammed into the confines of a single sentence. It's all you can remember. How morbid. Your mouth thins to a flat line. No, it is the ancestors looking down on you, watching over you. Half Brilliant closes its eyes. Some said the moons were once mortals who angered the sun. The Tsar sliced out little pieces of the satellites, waited for them to heal, and then did it all over again, which is why the moons wax and wane. There are solar eclipses when the moons fight back, and lunar eclipses when the sun skins a moon alive. When Half Brilliant reports back to its homeworld, you press an ear to the door of its chamber. As it cuts apart your words and stitches them back for its creators, you hear the master's gasp in pleasure. We should have just called you Brilliant, one jokes. Half Brilliant does not laugh with the others. Half Brilliant does not say a word. Tell me a story. The moons are bowls of grain, and comets are ghosts from other systems. The ancestors feed those visiting souls, so the moons wane, and they wax when they gather more food. And what do you believe? I believe nothing. Your turn. A flicker of something passes over its face. No, you are not the masters. You've never detected a genuine emotion from Half-Brilliant. Until now. And it is the sudden sour bitterness in its voice that sparks your first good idea. Tell me a story. Half-Brilliant maneuvers you in front of the star map it finished painting moments ago. The piece is beautiful, the best of its work, the best of your people ground up in the construct's stomach. Yours have always been better. You lift your hands helplessly. I have no other tales to tell. My clan knew them, and now you do. This is the greatest gamble you've ever played. Half-Brilliant examines its fingernails, nails that gouge out the eyes of your people, nails caked with the paint you mixed that very morning. Humor me. Prove that I was right to spare you. I mean it. I can't remember any more tales worth telling, you say. Your eyes begin to smart as you stare at the star map. The stars blur against their black background. The tears pooling over your eyelids are real. I see. Do you? If I have exhausted your memory, perhaps you can finally tell me something new. All right. Your fingers clench and unclench as you speak. Once upon a time, as humanity took its first halting steps across the stars, one sect looked upon the great works of its neighbors with envy and the guise of disdain. The towering sculptures of WASP 107b, a low-mass world with the density of sponge sugar, just rocks. The vanishing paintings of HD 189733b, where the rain falls sideways as needles of molten glass. Nothing more than chemicals on paper, the songs of S-2b, where the light falls in, never to reflect or return, just strings of words with different tones. So to prove their superiority, the sect built an army of artificial beings and sent them to their kin. The colonies received what they believed to be gifts with open arms. They thought they had merely been issued a challenge. But they had accepted nothing but a long, slow demise, encased in ice and absorbed bone by bone, tendon by tendon, until nothing remained of the sculptors and painters and singers but what the constructs stole. But the sect had its own art. Poor though it was, poor though they knew it to be, they proclaimed that their works were beyond their creations, that only the work of cursed savages could be eaten, masticated, and spat out again as something better. They are wrong. You drag in a breath and wait. You must think you're clever, says Half-Brilliant, its mechanical laughter filling the observatory. And you know you have failed when it does not even bother to butcher your words for the masters. You admit defeat. What else can you do? You fall back into your work, you sink, you drown. You record Half-Brilliant's looted, hacked-apart melodies. You fasten sweet-smelling wood into frames. You mix paint. You haul blocks of marble and granite from the quarry. You bind the paper you craft into blank books. The days crawl by. Life goes on. A year later, you dare ask, will you ever let my people go free, or will you devour them whole? I am not a monster, Half-Brilliant replies. Of course, a parasite does not see itself as such, just a creature doing what it was made to do. You meet the construct's gaze staring into its unblinking eyes. Its opalescent irises catch the sinking sun. I am not a complete monster, Half-Brilliant amends, carding a hand through its nylon curls. With halting steps, you follow it to the landing bay. Come, take your people. It lifts a hand, and the greatest steel doors of its ship cycle open. You freeze. The beat of your heart stumbles alongside your feet. Why? Why now? Without warning, Half-Brilliant grabs your hand and presses its cold, dead lips to your knuckles. Because is no more left for me here. You wrench your hand away with a hiss, and it lets you go. I will take my leave of you, Half-Brilliant murmurs, and return to the masters. What will you do there? You ask. You are shaking. Oh, there are so many worlds yet to conquer. Half-Brilliant turns towards its ship, gesturing for you to follow. The masters believe that their art is above me, that only the work of godless barbarians can be consumed, churned up, and reformed. I shall prove them wrong, and there will be no end. Half-Brilliant is nothing if not excellent at execution. Will you spare any of them? Your mouth tastes of iron. Will you leave a single survivor untouched as you did here? Do you think you survived me? One day, you say, your tongue forming the words unbidden, I will find you and make you sorry you were ever made. I'm already sorry I was ever made. Half-Brilliant turns its head to the side so you can see the blade-like edge of its smile. So you take your people and you prepare to wake what remains of them. You will regrow and rebuild, and Half-Brilliant goes home to conquer. What are your thoughts on the story? You can leave us a comment or question over at the Clarkesworld Magazine About Us page. Our contact information is listed there. We have one more story for the month of November 2023. I do hope you can join us. And until then, my dear listener, I bid you a very fond and hopefully very temporary farewell.